Don't get in the way of a woman over 40 who wants to climb a mountain. Hi, I'm Laura Hanson Brexa, and I am inspired by people's stories. Welcome to Know It, Live It, conversations with people who live passion on purpose and purpose with passion. In this week's episode, author Cathryn Farr and I have a talk about a group of women and their passion for hiking the Tetons. She shares their stories of her fellow hikers in her new book, The Last Mile is Always Through. In that recent conversation, I asked Cathryn who was in this remarkable group of women and what were they all about.
They started in their 40s and now they're breaking into the 80s. And we have about 4 or 5 of the original group that still hike. But over the decades, many hikers have come and gone for different reasons. I think the shortest hikes we take in the spring to kind of, loosen up our joints and everything are 7, 8, 9 miles. And regular hikes are 12, 15-mile hikes. And then there are 3 or 4 hikes that they do that are the 18, 20-mile hikes. The Paintbrush Divide goes over the top. There are a few that go over from the Idaho side to the Wyoming side, and we do those. And, I talk about some of the different, trails and what they're like and some of the adventures that the women have had on them. And each of the women, I've highlighted them specifically because they have a story to tell of their own challenges and doing hard things. And these women push themselves. We don't go out for 3 or 4 hours. We're out all day long. We start in the summertime, we meet at 6 a.m., drive out, we hit the trail. Sometimes we go out at 5. If we're going over the top, we'll have to go out earlier. And a lot of times we don't get back till, 5, 6 in the evening, and there's stories of them staying out after dark in some of those hikes. So it's amazing what they've done. And so when you get down to the end of the hike, your feet are just aching and, someone goes, "1 more mile," and you just keep hiking and you're like, "I'm sure we've already hiked a mile," and it just keeps going on and on. So that's why it's always 3. But it also relates to life. The last mile in our life, from our 70s to our 90s or from our 80s to the end of mortality, it feels like 3 miles. And these women are examples as well of having to adjust in older life to the way the body changes and the way the body starts to complain even louder. And toward the end of the book, we do talk about a fall that we had. I say we because we're all in this together. And it was pretty tough, pretty devastating, and there had to be some decisions made about hiking any further because of it just gets more dangerous, more and more dangerous. So it really is um, a story about overcoming personal obstacles, emotional and physical, and then what other obstacles come up as we go through life and change from our 40s to our 80s. And it's practical and it's real. It's not a story about these, um, one-off people who do one-off things that nobody else could possibly try to copy. I mean, these are regular, everyday women doing these really cool, hard things just because they've got grit. They want to. And then, of course, the mountains call you. Once you get out there and you start to learn and love them, they just call to you, and you've just gotta be out there for your own mental and emotional health, and, it really does help, and these women do talk about that help in their lives as well in the book.
Do you think people think their stories are not worth telling?
They all said that to me. Every single one of them said, "Well, I don't have a story to tell. I don't really do anything that big of a deal," and I'm like, "Yes, you do. We just don't even, realize it, I think." How impressive their stories can be and how inspiring. And that's what I love to write about is just normal people having, and I hate to even use the word extraordinary experiences because they are normal experiences that we can do. One of my ladies has asthma and she hikes into the mountains to 9 and 10,000 feet elevation and she deals with her asthma. Another one has had oh, what is it? 5, 6 joint replacements? And she's still out hiking and doing things. A couple others have had 1 or 2 joint replacements, and they get back on the trail. Another one's she had a situation, and she ended up with vertigo, and so that really makes it hard to for her to hike through snowfields because everything's white and the vertigo just goes crazy. Or across bridges, we walk beside her and we help her across these little log bridges because she just can't keep her balance. But she's still out there doing it. She's back on the trail despite it. Mm. We've had different injuries. We all have, well, of injuries that, you know, kick up every now and then. And then there's, the emotional depressions and stuff that come up. And, but those are, those are common things that we all go through. And so to read the stories that people can combat them and live through them and not just survive but thrive through them because of the help of other women. There are stories in my book too about mm, the challenge that it is to be vulnerable with each other and how things don't always go easily and smoothly. I mean, these women, we have disagreements. We are not on the same page about every topic and every subject, but I think the important ones we are. And so again, it tells just the reality. We all know people that, you know, mm, kind of rub us in one way or another, yet we respect them in another way. And that's just the same way this group is, and this group has been. So, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to read just, the very end of the book.
I was hoping you would read some. I certainly was.
Oh, good. Just the last couple little paragraphs here, and this is kind of my hope. Wake up early, hoist a backpack, step on all rock or all sand, never sand on rock. Inhale, exhale, choose the highest peak and rejoice that you are exhausted. All of us began hiking in our 40s and 50s. It's never too late to do hard things. On the trail and in life, the last mile is always 3. Find some friends. The mountains are calling. So just do, just do what you want to do.
And
S-
it's okay if you teeter a little bit on the Teton.
I love that. We all teeter on the Tetons. Yep. We have all said we are never going to finish this hike, and yet we do.
The Last Mile is Always 3 by Cathryn Farr. Thank you for listening to Know It, Live It, conversations with people who live passion on purpose and purpose with passion. I'm Laura Hanson Brexa. Check us out on knowitliveit.blog for goody stuff and recaps and key points and all kinds of good stuff. Tell your friends about us. Keep listening, subscribe, make comments. Love to hear from you. Bye.